Everyone is welcome here, it's time to make new friends. Fill your Glencairn. Share a dram with the spirit of Edmonton.
Slancha! And good evening, Whiskey Brothers, Sisters, friends, and welcome to episode 89 of the Canadian Whisky Journey's Whiskey Review. I'm Dolph. I am the creator of the Canadian Whisky Journey. I'm the spirit of Edmonton on all social media, and most importantly, I am your host tonight. So if you haven't been here for a while, or this is your very first time, welcome. And two, what you should know is that if I'm reviewing something here, it's because I like the whiskey. Either the whole thing or portions of it. So it could be the nose and or the palate and or the mouthfeel and or the finish and or the beauty of the bottle and all these things. But it all comes together. So if I have it here, there's something that I like and something I would promote about this whiskey. So what we should do is tell you what whiskey we're doing. This is it. Dunrobin Whiskey. So this is their inaugural edition of their Canadian whiskey. Now, when we see Canadian whiskey, we're a little bit hesitant because you don't know what goes in it. And people say, oh, it's rye, it's not rye, it's whatever. But what you should know, it's a good whiskey. So, but the reason why I am doing this whiskey tonight is because it perfectly exemplifies one of my current foci, which is, in this case, the 111th rule or the 9.090909 rule. Now, I've discussed this with dozens of owners, distillers, master blenders, mostly in Canada, but all over the world. And most notably, though, I did when I reviewed this book, Davin DeKergommeaux's Canadian Whisky Book. And Davin and I have been talking about the 111th rule for years and years. And it's really come to a head more and more recently, especially after a whiskey that used the 111th rule won Canadian Whiskey of the Year at, I'll talk about that in a second, but it's come to a head for me. And it has for Davin for a while. And he's spoken about the rule and he's been a proponent, but he's had something to say about it that not everyone's always heard. So if you want to see this, the link is down below. Click on this and you'll see it's not a heated discussion, but it's a lively discussion because Davin gets really passionate about it. So take a look at the 111th rule, what we did in there, and there's bookmarks so you can scan within the hour and 20 minutes that we talk. Just click on that link. So do that. But what we are going to do tonight is we are going to start with this whiskey and the information that I have about this whiskey. And there's not a whole bunch of information, and they have online exactly what they have in the book. So explore the best in Canadian grains from the select blend of whiskey aged in bourbon, new oak, and sherry barrels. That's all the information you're getting. That's it. You also get the batch number in the back, but with that batch number, you're not getting a whole bunch of information either. So, but what you should know is that it tastes good. Also online, it says blending new oak, sherry and bourbon barrels aged wheat, corn, and rye. So they mention the wheat, corn, rye. They don't tell us in what proportions. So you can figure it out. You can drink it. Tell me what you think as well. So let's start with the nose, which is light, but I've been holding it in my hand for a while. So it's heated up and I can get the aroma quite easily now, where it was a little bit forced before trying to get it. It's light, but it's caramelly. Vanilla and marshmallow comes out. So this caramel vanilla. Or, this would be fantastic, if you dip the marshmallow in caramel. Sheriff's caramel spread. That's kind of what it is. And freshly cut hay, grass, something like that. So it's got a fresh kind of smell to it. So it's sweet. We've got that. kind of red fruits, I think. All right, so let's stick with that. Caramel, marshmallow, some of the like strawberry, raspberry, red fruits. Fresh cut, hay or grass. More hay-like, I think. All right, palate. It's got a good mouthfeel, but it's light, which is probably because it's 40%. Caramel corn. And I'm going to stick with the marshmallow analogy because you get the vanilla, the sweet vanilla caramel corn. Marshmallow dipped in caramel, rolled in popcorn. Chew that. Maybe that's what you're getting. And there's something herbal about it. Now, in the past, and people that know me, you hear herbal and sometimes you think tailsy. And I've said that sometimes, tailsy. This isn't tailsy at all. And so a nice hard cut with this. Yeah, just there's something I just can't put my hand on. That's herbal. Maybe a bit flower-like. Finish goes from sweet initially, and not too sweet. And you know, I don't like sweet whiskeys a lot, but this is good. It's got a nice balance. So sweet to fruity, and it ends with a spice. And another synonym for spice is often like the alcohol kind of hitting you on that. This is not it. With 40%, you don't get the alcohol burn. It's a spice. So I don't know how much rye is in here. I don't think there's very much, but maybe that's where it's coming from. It's a 750 ml bottle. I bought it in Ontario so Ottawa specifically, for $55, so close to $60 with tax. Beautiful decorative bottle. I don't know if you can see the maple leaf there and the top of the maple leaf in the back. It's got nice paper to it, well done, and we've got a nice medallion in the front, which is nice, and it's bronze. You can tell by the turning of the color. Points for and against, though, because it does have the twist off. It was a bit dented, so I replaced that with a cork, an old Bricklady one, which is kind of cool. But anyway, so that's in there. Sounds good, right? Right. Nose is great. Palate's great. Finish is great. $60. Canadian, buy Canadian. Beautiful bottle. Looks good on the shelf. Sounds good. Here's the problem. And it's not with this whiskey. It's with a concept. The problem is we don't know if they've employed the 111th rule. And some people would say, so what? We're allowed to use it here in Canada. What's the problem? Or if they are, they're not breaking any rules. So what's the problem, Dolph? The problem's probably you. Now, it might be me. But I believe there's a problem. And it's the same problem I have when with chill filtering and E150A coloring. And if you're listening to this, you've heard Ralphie talk about it in this subject in its entirety. So I'm not going to go on with that. But at the base level, what I want to say is it's not completely whiskey. It's not completely honest. I'm not saying it's not good. I enjoyed it. Look how much of the bottle I've had. Now, I've shared this with some friends. They've enjoyed it as well. I usually do these things blind so they can tell me their information without getting too inside their head or thinking I want to hear something. But this has been polished off really well. So I do like it. So let's keep that to the side. But I like it for what it is. It's a 40% whiskey that's possibly colored, that's probably chill filtered, that's probably a high corn, which is where I'm getting the nice mouthfeel from, I think. It could be high wheat. I could be wrong. And it's probably employing the 111th rule. Now, to their credit, I texted them and they texted back right away. And I asked them if they used the 111th rule in their Canadian whiskey. And they thought I was talking about the single malt that came out last summer. And they said, yes, we used peated whiskey in our single malt. I said, not the single malt. I want to know about your inaugural whiskey, the first one I bought. And they never got back to me. And they get busy. People don't have to get back to me. They said they would, they didn't. But we don't know. There's nothing on the label that says the 111th rule was used or wasn't used. We just don't know. Now, that being said, maybe there's no problem with it. The Canadian Whisky Awards, Whisky of the Year, last year, employed the 111th rule. I had friends, or people I consider friends, whiskey distillery owners, distillers, blenders, saying, maybe the problem is just you, Dov. It's all within the law. It's all within the scope. The 10 judges that decided it was the best of the year, that was their decision. Who am I to besmirch their name and their decision about this whiskey? Now, sure, I can agree with that to a certain degree, but I still had my opinion. I just don't like it. And this is why. Canadian whiskey is seen as less than internationally, and that shouldn't be the case. I've presented, reviewed 88 other whiskeys on this program over the years that I've done this. And the craft distilleries, the large-scale distilleries, should be able to hold their head up high no matter where the whiskey is being tasted. If it's here in Canada where we accept the 111th rule, or in the United States where they poo-poo it quite a bit, or internationally where they really don't like it and they question our whiskey, they should be able to hold their head up high no matter where it is and not think that people are judging them for doing something which they might not have done. Or maybe they did. Who knows? Now, I'm not saying that they should even stop using the 111th rule. The distilleries that are selling their spirit earmarked for well drinks or the bottom shelf drinks in the United States continue to do it. They get a tax break for using some American liquid in their blend. So God bless them for prospering using the American way. But this isn't whiskey to the rest of the world. Now, I might be a whiskey snob. I've said it before, and I probably am. But what I want more than anything is the whiskey world to see what I see, that Canadian whiskey, all these whiskeys, all these guys over here and all the whiskeys up here are phenomenal. Our whiskey is phenomenal. And this cannot happen with the cloud over their head of, did they put something in this when people are tasting our whiskey? Now, this will not sit well with a lot of people in the industry, but such is life. But it's my opinion, and how many people really do care. I do. I see a fix to this, though, and I'm really encouraging those that I talk to do this. I want them to do something akin to what they're already doing, because most of my favorite distilleries already put non-chill filtered, no coloring added. So that most of them do that already. What I want is 4 statements. Okay, so 1, non-chill filtered. 2, no coloring added. 3, not made using GNS, grain neutral spirits. That's really important. And 4, the 111th rule was not employed in the creation of this whiskey. I'll say it again. The 111th rule was not employed in the creation of this whiskey. I want that in the back. I want to say it on the label, front, back, everywhere. I want to be able to see it. Now, if the whiskey companies do not give us this information openly, so not just online, or you having to do the extra step of actually sending them an email or a text or a messenger, maybe they don't deserve our money. Maybe they don't deserve our devotion. And we do. We're devoted to our Canadian whiskeys. We love it. We pay our money, hard-earned money, and it's getting worse. So let's do what's right, whiskey community. Let's hold ourselves to a higher standard and attack the basic negative view of whiskey internationally beyond our borders. Let's do it, please. Have a fantastic night, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you got some information from it. I'd love to see the comments on the bottom with this. We don't always get it, and people usually text me after this. I'd love to see the comments right on the bottom for other people to see what they think. All right. Thank you, everybody. Sláinte. I'll see you soon.